So the next type of questions that we will write will be psychological questions for your audience analysis. So this, you will have 5 questions. 1 will be open-ended. 2 will be scaled. And 2 will be multiple choice or fixed alternative. Okay, psychological questions are about the topic. So unlike demographic questions where we're just gathering pieces of information about a target audience, this you are specifically asking about your topic. So open-ended questions should give the opportunity to be rich and full of description. So these are the questions that will say something like list, describe, explain, why or why not. So we want to know rich detail if your audience member has that information to lend to you. So if I were to ask you, how many of you had a childhood pet? Okay, now I have most of you raise your hand from that, but that just answers a question. That's not an open-ended question. Instead, if I say, describe to me your first childhood pet. Okay, you see how that is different? How many of you could tell a lot of stories right now about, Fluffy that you used to sleep with when you were a kid and, used to steal your socks and do all kinds of crazy stuff and had all these. So that is what we're looking for, is that rich description. So describe, explain. Other things you can do for an open-ended question would be to ask, what do you want to know about this topic? Okay, I had a person that did this with a weightlifter. He was a weightlifter, and he wanted to persuade the class to do some resistance training exercise. And his question, actually for his open-ended question, is what part of your body would you like to work most on? Okay, and here he was able to tailor his persuasive speech according to whatever the class told him. Okay, so that ended up being very audience-centered because of the very specific open-ended question he asked. Other things that you could ask if you're not sure, what do you want to know about this topic? That opens up a lot. What are your fears? What are your greatest fears about this? What is your biggest factor that stops you from eating healthy, or if there is something, explain this, describe this. Tell me what your day is like, what your diet is like from the moment you wake up in the morning to the moment you go to bed. Have them explain their day. If it's related to, of course, your topic, those are some examples of open-ended questions. And you'll only want one open-ended question. Okay. Then you should have 2 scaled and 2 multiple choice questions. With scaled questions, we are measuring the degree of intensity that this class feels about your topic. So we're going to be looking at those attitudes, those beliefs, and those values and how strongly they feel. So this is looking more, not at what they do, because that's what multiple choice questions are, but that how they feel, where they stand on certain things and how strongly they are. So we're going to figure out, really, are they how favorable or unfavorable, or are they right in the middle? So we will use what's called a Likert scale, and you can have 5 choices, 7 choices, or 10 choices. So leave that one in the middle for the neutral audience members so that they can put neither agree or disagree. So it could be, how important is safety to you on a scale of 1 to 10? Okay, and then they can choose where they feel in that, and to the level that they feel. For your multiple choice questions, this is what we actually do. So these are our behaviors. And you should have 1 scaled and 1 multiple choice question link up somehow. So if we were to look at an example, I think you had an example about a multiple choice question. What was your?
Do you remember? Shoot, I don't remember what I said.
It was like a number of times you did something.
Yeah, I think,
How many times have you done something?
How many
How
times?
often?
how often do you, I'm doing naps, so how
Okay.
often do you nap?
Okay, how often do you nap? So that's a behavioral question, and you're gonna probably ask something like 0 to 1 times per week as a choice, 2 to 3 times per week, 4 to 5 times per week or more. And you're going to give that choice for your audience. So you have the choices. You have this is why it's called fixed alternative. You've made those choices for the class. Where do you shop? Now this is another one where you can list all the choices for the audience, but also put a check all that apply. So they can go through, okay, for, say, grocery shopping, if you're trying to convince the class to make meals at home, for example, for a persuasive presentation. I don't remember if that's in this class. Somebody, in one of my classes, that's one of the topics. Have them all listed out, but then also leave an option that says, other. There's something else out there, and let them tell you what it is. So frequency is an idea, habits is an idea. You can uncover myths with this. If you were to, for example, for like your alien one, how many sightings do you think occurs in the United States of identified flying objects? Okay, now you could list a certain number of things. You know the answer. List a certain things. We don't know the answer. Just find out what people think, and then that can be something you bring out in the survey. So have one scale and one multiple choice question match, because it's a good idea to see how they feel and where the behaviors line up, and that's going to help you with persuasion. So how important is safety to you on a scale of 1 to 10? Frequency, how many times do you text and drive? Or when do you text and drive? Then you have a choice. Never, only at stoplights, etc. And you just kind of list out the different types of options. So now